So are you atheist, agnostic?
I mean, I just don't believe in a God.
Did you ever?
No.
Were you raised not to believe there's a God?
Mm-mm.
Did your parents believe there's a God?
Yes.
Okay, so what is the biggest reason you don't believe in God?
Well, I mean, science is really my religion. Because it's...
Hey, I like an honest answer. I like an honest answer because people will say like, I don't have religion. No, people come up with a religion of some kind. So when you say science is religion, your religion, what do you mean by that?
Well, I follow science. Like, science is objective. It's existed, and we are like slowly figuring out everything we can about science.
Do people ever have bad science or wrong science?
Well, not. I mean, if you like make up data, then that would be like wrong science. But if you're just doing like a regular experiment, like
I get what you're saying.
you do. Okay.
Yeah. Do you think though that people can have like presuppositional bias with data?
Yes.
And that's a big thing in the scientific community, right? Which is why they keep rechecking things at times until you can come up with the proof. So as a Christian, I'm not opposed to science. Science is taking place all around us. The sun is, nuclear fusion right now so that we can have light and photons come into the earth. The universe is governed by laws of physics. The biggest issue when it comes down to science and religion is who created everything. So my challenge to you today would be that science doesn't give a good answer. Do you think that science gives a good answer where everything came from?
Well, not right now. I mean, we know everything came from the Big Bang, but we don't know how the Big Bang happened or what was before. If we were to, there's no, proving in science, but if we were to, prove that a God existed and created the Big Bang, then I would believe, but there's no proof of that.
So the challenge that I give to people, because as a Christian, I'd say it's important to look at evidence and to look at truth. I don't think, so for example, if you could provide something that was evidence, no one should ever be so biased that they are like, I just reject that because I don't like the conclusion. But when it comes to intelligence and it comes to design, we don't see any place in life where there's intelligence and complex design without there being a designer. Can you name one thing that you can think of where there's complex design without a designer besides a snowflake? Because people say that's a pattern. It's not complex design.
Well, I mean, just the universe in general.
DNA!
Okay, so DNA. How, if you were to stretch your DNA out, like every strand, do you know how far it would stretch?
Incredibly far.
To the moon and back?
Not to the sun and back.
Oh, okay.
So that's a far distance.
That might be your intestines that's to the moon and back.
Might be blood vessels that you're thinking
yeah.
about. So the issue is, how much coding is in our DNA compared to, let's say, the coding of Facebook or the coding of anything in this world? The coding of our DNA is so complex, it has 4 markers instead of just 2. Instead of binary 0 and 1, it has 4. That's intelligence. And who here has studied biology? Okay, besides molecules, what are the basic building block of life or advanced life?
How small you want to go?
Okay, let's say proteins. Okay, so right, I mean advanced life, because you can have single-celled organisms and things like that, but proteins require a coding that has to be exact, and our body isn't just made up of one protein, it's made up of many proteins. And if even one of those little things is out of order in just one, place, it can lead to catastrophic failure of the organism. So what I'm saying
do nothing at all.
What's that?
Most of your DNA doesn't do anything. There are misfires all the time.
Not in the beginning of the formation of a creature. So, for example, when you're in your mother's stomach, any kind of problems in your DNA have catastrophic events. As you grow older and you...
Not necessarily.
There
are all sorts of genetic defects that don't show until later in life.
But you still have life. I'm saying there are so many that if you even that life can't even come into existence unless things are in a certain order.
Well, I'm just going to leave you with this. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean nobody does.
Well, that's not a good answer.
Well, as your cells divide, your DNA like replicates, and every time it's not completely perfect. So every time a cell divides, the DNA is just slightly very different, and it could be completely fine. It could hurt the cell. It could kill it.